It's good.
Welcome to The Collective, where every conversation ignites a new perspective. Join us as we delve into the journeys of remarkable individuals, explore the art of growth, resilience, and the power of a shared mission as we strive to be better together. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Gold Mine. We have another fantastic show for you planned out today, although it is not planned at all. We are just going wild with it, and while we are doing that, make sure you're doing the pre-program thing. Like the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all that good stuff, get your emails when we go live, which is of course Wednesdays for The Gold Mine, Fridays for The Collective. If you have not already, make sure you're signed up for the Reinforcement Loop. That is our weekly newsletter. It goes out, talks about everything that we talk about, but in a much more condensed form, and you get a little bit of brain candy from Shaun. It's an excellent read. Make sure you sign up, stay in the loop. Other than that, if you have any thoughts, questions, stuff like that, put them up in the comments or send them into our email as well. I can always use them on a show like today. And other than that, Shaun, how's life out in the mountains? That coffee must taste real good.
Yeah, I've been sipping on it for a little while. It is a Columbia Frank Torres Couture Natural. Now, I don't think I sent you the Couture Natural because I did send you some coffee just the other day when I mailed you the light, the what was it, the Elgato keyring light, I think it was, or the whatever. Anyway, a new light that I don't need because I've got the Amaran Verge Magnificence.
The Magnificence,
boys, let's go! Yeah. Super affordable, by the way, and I'm not sponsored by them. They're just good lights that are affordable. But as I was packing up your power supply, I jammed it into a coffee bag, and I believe that coffee bag, it's only about a half a pound because I need to slam the power delivery supply in there. I think it is the Costa Rica Hacienda Sonora SL28 Natural, which, by the way, is a freaking expensive coffee. Different than the Frank Torres Couture Natural, but equally as exciting and impressive, super juicy, super sweet. But I got to advise you, it has to be drank like room temperature or lower. Like, I mean, if you can get it, just if you start sipping on it at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, that's the time you just start tasting it. Nothing higher. And then at around 110, 100, oh, it's so money. And it's a super expensive coffee, by the way. Like, if you tried to buy that online, there's only a few boutique roasters that have still got a bit left. It sold out pretty fast. I got mine from Jeff at Apex Imports in Calgary, as I buy all my coffee from Apex. That coffee to buy online, and this is not like an exorbitant price. It's not like they're trying to rip anyone off. To buy it, it sells at about $150 a kilo. And so, do the math. It's expensive coffee to buy. It's expensive coffee to roast. So what I buy it at per pound as a green bean, I'd lose money if I sell it at the normal price that I would sell it to all of my typical customers. So you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. One. I have some of the Ethiopian that you sent me a while ago that's in the freezer that I'm just opening up now. And
well, I'm getting some more. I just talked with Jeff this morning in a big long email, and so I've got I've got some exciting Kenyan coming, and he said he's going to ship that this week. I've got 2 Ethiopians that I put like just a little. I hope this doesn't turn into a full coffee episode, but since we're just John and we don't really have a plan, I'm going to educate you on coffee to some degree. So normally what I'll do is I'll approach Jeff and say, hey, what's your best coffee right now? Can I have some of that? And because I'm such a nano roaster, like a tiny little boutique roaster, I don't buy like huge bags of coffee. Usually I'll buy, 25 to 75 pound bags, typically nothing much more. But what I do is I'm an opportunistic buyer. I like to have a number of different coffees, and I don't like to commit to big orders because I like to move my coffees around. And so on the 2 Ethiopians that I've committed to, which will be here in a couple of weeks kind of thing, they were supposed to be here a month ago. But, shipping on the boats and in the ports and all the gong show that's going on, around the world, things have been delayed, of course. I committed to these two Ethiopians probably about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and it's called Spot. So you buy on spot, and that means you don't
Okay.
get to taste it. You don't get to understand what it's all about. All you have to go on is your buyer, which is Jeff Apex, and his opinion based on his cupping, either in country, like at the source, or shipped samples to him, like air freighted samples that they'll roast in house and then sample, give a cupping score, cupping notes, etc., and then he'll let me know what's what. So with the two Ethiopian bags, what I said to him, he's got all these Ethiopians coming in. I simply said, hey, I'll grab a couple of bags of Spot. Give me your two best bags, the ones that you would drink. And so I've got those two bags en route. And those bags are pretty big bags. They're, about 75 pounders or whatever. So I got two good Ethiopians coming in. I got the Kenyan probably en route this week. And then I just committed again this morning to I'm going to forget the estate, the producer, but described as vibrant, juicy, and sweet. And it's a great Colombian bean. So I've got like a 25-kilo box backpack of that just got freighted in. And then my favorite, of course, the Frank Torres, probably some of my most cherished coffees out of Colombia. In fact, I was just chirping with Frank in a DM there just yesterday. I'm hoping to get some of Frank Torres's coffee committed in the very near future as Jeff gets them released to him. And super, super looking forward to the Frank Torres.
I'm looking forward to the fruits of your labor.
Yes, me too. I know.
It'll be pretty sweet. So that there are some questions here that are coming up to the top of my mind here, and one of them is like, when you started roasting, there's a process, right? Like at this point now, you've been doing it so many years that there's a nuance to it, and you're able to kind of pick. You've been through the ringer a few times, and so on and so forth. But like, for someone that wanted to get into this, when they first start roasting, they're like, man, I could do that. I could roast my own beans, right? And then
Well, they can.
they get hooked. Absolutely. It's just the mental choice of when people do that.
That's right.
When they go, yeah, I'm going to do that. What would be some of the first steps to dive into the world of it? Because it's kind of a nuanced, niche little area.
It is. It's a good question, by the way. But I think you asked the wrong question. You asked the second question. You didn't ask the first question.
Okay.
You're asking the question that follows on from the first question. And the first question is this: why do you want to roast your own green beans? Why do you want to roast your own coffee? Because, like, if you don't have a good why, then, like, a person's just, it's never going to happen. They're going to hear this information and, well, that was cool. That was interesting. But it isn't going to be enough for them to pull the trigger. And so, why roast your own coffee? I would say this, that good coffee can be controlled in a way that it produces what you want. And so by that I mean you can control the A to Z of your life. Like, I just literally wrote about it this morning in my Instagram account as I was slicing a banana in half on Garbage Day video. And what I did say is, like, I was referring to how you can maybe shape the laws of physics, how you can bend life to your will. But before you start bending the world, the rules, you have to understand why you want to do it, I believe. And so, don't start bending things if you don't understand why you're bending them. That's malicious. You know what I'm saying? That's just bending for bending's sake.
True, but I think you have to bend some things to understand that you can.
No,
without
I disagree.
without some forethought. I think it happens.
I think before you bend your very first thing, whether you're bending physics, bending life, bending the will of someone in front of you, bending your own will, whatever the case is, before you bend anything, I think you've got to set the stage even if it's a split second, that liminal space, you have to set the stage in your liminal space intentionally to be a cool person. Like you got to bend the rules righteously. And so if in the moment that you decide I am going to shape my coffee life in a way that pleases me cuz I'm a jerk, like all of a sudden it doesn't matter what you bend. Who cares what you bend? I don't even want to hear what you're bending if you're just a jerk. Now, if you decide that you want to bend things righteously for the good reasons, I'm all about it. Then we can talk about anyone can bend things. But if I get behind the universal statement of, well, anyone can bend it, everyone should bend it. No, I disagree. Not everyone should bend it because some people bend it maliciously.
I will give you that some people will bend the universe in a malicious manner. But I do think, and it's kind of funny because we talked about this beforehand. We didn't want to go too deep in this. We're already solving the mysteries of the
Dude, I
universe.
said we were just going to keep it light. Let's keep it light. Let's just chat. I thought we were on coffee for a sec.
We were. I asked you about getting into it, and then we went into the why of things, and now we're into the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah.
And I was having this conversation with somebody just recently, and it was about this particular thing, in that she had said that there are universal truths in the that are absolutely universal. And
There's
I said
universal things.
And I said that I disagree, because there are people out there that believe in the exact opposite of what I believe in. Like the core beliefs that I hold, I know there are people out there that hold the exact opposite core beliefs.
Sure.
And therefore, in the duality of things, there can't ever be anything that is absolute, because if there is an absolute, then there has to be a negative.
No, I think what you're doing is you're making a good point by cherry picking specifics. So now let's just use a universal law of physics called gravity. Do you disagree with gravity?
I don't disagree with gravity, but I understand that gravity is still a theory.
So go find someone who does. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's universal. There are certain laws of physics. If we talk about Newton's laws or the mechanical laws of our universe, there are certain things that are, an action will create an equal reaction, an action, reaction. And so there's just things that are rules of thumb or laws of physics, Newtonian laws, that are non-breakable until you start playing with them, and then maybe you can bend them, but not break them. And so I did say specifically, I think you can bend things. I think you can shape things.
True.
The A to Z of coffee, it is your laws of physics to shape if you intentionally understand what I'm putting down. But to say that someone disagrees with the universality of certain things, well, no, I just don't agree with that.
The reason why I think this is funny is because you're right, I am cherry picking things, but I also know that scientific theories are theories for a reason. And because we haven't tested everything.
Oh, I know.
And in that everything, in that unknown space that we have not tested, there lies the opportunity where gravity does not affect the way we see it affect everything else.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read specifically what I wrote down this morning exactly on this topic in my IG account. I put this up 3 hours ago. I will read it verbatim. Reality is a draft. It is malleable and unfinished. It bends when precision, timing, and presence align. But nothing is shaped without curiosity, discipline, and purpose. Learn to rewrite the code, bend your limits, and the world bends with you. Now, I didn't say break the world or break the rules. And I didn't say that this thing just automatically does it itself. I said some key words in there
It's true.
that a person has to apply in order to better understand how to bend the world to your will or to your Harry Potter wand, whatever you want to call it. But I feel this Newtonian world that we exist in, on a surface level, the reality we'll call it, I bend the reality of it to some degree. Now, to what percentage that degree is, who knows? 1%, 0.01%, who cares, man? But I do bend it. But I can only say that because I've spent a lot of my life trying to bend it through curiosity and purpose and discipline and focus on trying to bend it. So let me round it off by this. This will make sense to you, I believe. So I put up another post in my Instagram account, and it was about where's that bad boy at? It's about this bad boy. I'll flash it up super quick because I don't want any of the details. So I put that little. I found that in my junk pile. I was going through some junk that I was trying to chuck away just the other day. And as I dug, like I was grabbing little medals and clip-on, whatever, stuff. I was like, what the heck is, oh my goodness, I can't believe I still have this. I thought I'd shredded it, which I'll probably have to do. And so I just thought it'd be fun to put a little photo up there for the troops, see when I was 29 years old. But it wasn't about the photo, and it wasn't about when I was 29. The verbiage is what it was about. I wasn't trying to flare out and say, look at my long hair when I was 29 in special operations. What I was trying to do is make a case for this, and I'm going to read it again. So I referenced that photo against The Matrix, the movie. And in the verbiage that I put down, I talked about some of the characters that I met along my life that influenced me to become what I became. And I called out specifically Morpheus, Oracle, Keymaker, Architect, Merovingian, Seraph, and Trinity. And then I went on to describe how they were pivotal or key to me becoming what I became in my life. Now, a commenter stated this morning, hey, hang on a sec. I just realized that sort of casually you have referred to yourself as Neo in this post. And my response back to him was, yeah, you're right. But I had to play a lot of minor roles and a lot of tasks that were like, built me up to this moment where, not this moment, but, years ago where I took on the idea that, hey man, like I've played all the minor bit parts. I should be able to be the lead character in my own movie, right? And so if I'm going to be the lead character and I see the world in a certain way, we'll call it the Matrix, as it were, well, frickin' rights, I'm going to be Neo. I mean, what would I be? What would I be? I wouldn't be anything else but that.
Yeah.
And so I feel that is just, it sounds bold, it sounds extravagant, it sounds wild to say that, but listen, I believe it, man. Like, what else would I want to be? Would I want to be the cat, the black cat that walks across the alley? No. Would I want to be the garbage can that the cell phone gets thrown in? No. I'm going to be freaking Neo, man. And whether I pull it off or whether I am or who cares, that's all nonsense. But honestly, if you've got to pick a character, it's Neo for me. That's it. That's all.
You're going to be the main. You can't not be the main character in your own story.
Well, that's not true though.
Now, some
you
people
can be,
but
you can.
So
because I was.
I get it, but the story of
so
Neo.
hang on. So you said you can't be.
No, let me rephrase.
So ease into it. Rephrase it.
Let me rephrase.
Okay.
There are people that live the Neo, the Mr. Anderson version of Neo, right? Like that character spans what you're talking about. At the beginning, he works in a friggin' office space. He doesn't really do anything.
Works in the army.
Exactly. And so it doesn't matter what it is. Like you can.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Put it in anything, and you can just do your everyday, and then at night dream that there's something more.
Feel a pull.
Follow the white rabbit. Do all there's lots of metaphors in that. But the story of Neo is exactly what you're talking about. There's a period of time where you're just doing the thing, and you don't really know where to go from there. You're just in that moment, and you can live an entire life in that moment if you make
Yeah,
that
for
choice.
sure. Yeah.
If you follow the white rabbit, if you follow that pull, that call, that little thing in the back of your mind of like, what is that? And go after it, is where you become Neo over time, because he wasn't even Neo until he decided to be Neo, right?
100%. Until he committed.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
that is a key word that I want to, again, I've got to refer back to my post here. And so this made an impact on someone who felt it was so important that they got back to me and were like, wow, like more people need to hear that. And so here's the statement. So it's the last sentence in this paragraph that I'm going to read. By 29, I was in special operations, not because I planned it at 5 years old, not because I had all the answers. Here's the key sentence. Because I was willing to be more than I thought I could be. You know?
It's interesting that this comes up, because this is it's a continual thing that is actually one of the conversations I'm having with my oldest right now, is that he puts walls in front of himself, and he just like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't. And I keep trying to, like, man, this is a choice you're making that you can't do it. And then he gets in, and then him and I start to get head buddy, because I'm like, no, I know you can. And he goes, no, I can't. And then it becomes a who's right kind of battle back and forth.
Well, you're both right.
And yeah, absolutely.
You're both right until
100%.
someone injects the reason for the can or can't.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Like washing the dishes or saving the planet? Because those are two different things. And you can do both, or you can't do both. But one is purposeful for the savior of mankind, and the other one is just the freaking dishes. And so what stokes that kid? Probably not the dishes. And saving the planet is just too big of it's just too grand of an idea for him at, 11 or whatever. And so your job is to deliver the importance of you're saving the planet while talking about the dishes. And that ain't an easy conversation, but, that's your job.
Yeah. And I'm up for it. And I keep working on it, and I keep showing him through example as well, and being able to, interesting enough, my guitar playing, I've gotten better at playing guitar.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot more. But when he was little was when I really started playing. And so it's been probably 10 years worth of me
But he
picking
wouldn't
away
know
at
that.
it. He wouldn't know that.
He's probably only been aware of it over the last 2 or 3 years, maybe.
Exactly. So, but he's starting to see it when he plays his trumpet, how much better he's gotten, because he has a perfect example. His younger brother is behind him, right? And he's like, oh, I can see the progress. Same thing with learning French and doing all the other little ancillary tasks that I'm doing on my own. Him and I had conversations about it of like, this is how you get better at stuff. This is how you do these things, is that it's the daily practices. I pick up the guitar every time and I start playing, and I'm like, hey, do you see this? I'm working on myself, right? That kind of thing.
So do you draw attention to that? Like, do you almost to some degree highlight the fact that you're working on yourself, as it were?
At times, not often.
How do you do it?
Well, the last one I did was I picked up my guitar and he sat down next to me, and I was like, hey, do you want to try? And he was like, kind of. And I'm like, sweet, here you go. And I like handed him the guitar and showed him how to do a couple things. And then he played with it for a little while, and I just sat there and I let him play with it.
Sure.
And then eventually he gave it back to me. And that was where I was like, when was the last time you saw me pick up my guitar? And he was like, yesterday. I was like, what about before that? And he was like, well, it was the day before. And what about the time before that? And he was like, well, it was the day before that. And I was like, you see the pattern here in that in my practice schedule? And he was like, yeah. And I asked him how long do I play normally? And he said, well, sometimes you play one song, sometimes you play a bunch. I was like, yeah. So, and I was just trying to kind of guide him to understand that it's the repetition of the action
Yeah,
that gains
that's
the
all
progress.
logical.
And he grasped it, and he actually wandered off and started playing his trumpet just to give himself a little peace. And I kind of accepted that as a win.
Yeah. Did he pick
And
up the trumpet the following day?
he did, yeah.
And
then
so
the
on and so
third
forth.
day,
So are you unhappy with something or?
no, today was it was another issue. Was he doesn't think he's very strong.
Probably isn't.
Well, and this is where I'm trying to show him like he can't. He gives up on himself a lot when it comes to that.
I mean,
so,
come on. 9 out of 10 chance that he probably isn't.
yeah. I'm not saying
So-
he's not a jack giant by any means, but he
No,
was
I'm
trying
not saying
to,
anything. I'm just simply like setting the stage that if he thinks he's not strong, I'm agreeing he probably isn't.
and I agree with you as
Because
well.
most kids aren't.
Yeah.
Like 9 out of 10 are
Yeah.
weak.
Yeah.
So
But I don't want him calling himself weak. I want him to
what do you want him to call himself? Strong?
no, I want him to understand that he has more capability than he actually is letting himself utilize. So
And
it's not,
so
it's not a question of strength.
what's the impetus then? Like if we're not acknowledging the fact that he's weak.
I am acknowledging, like,
Okay, no, I understand. I understand that between you and I, we are, as is most of the world. But
Yeah.
the fact remains that, like, if he says, I think I'm weak, you don't have to say, yeah, you frickin' are. But what you can say is, why do you think that?
yes, and
Well, because I can't do any push-ups. How many can you do? Let's see. And then when the person does 3 or 10 or 29 or whatever the case is, when they stand back up, you don't have to say, yeah, you are freaking weak, you clown. What you can say is, so you did 3. Do you think that makes you weak? What would you categorize as strong? And then they're screwed.
yeah,
Because what you've just dragged out of them is their next milestone that they're going to have to commit to, that you hold them to. Am I wrong?
no, you're absolutely right.
No,
Yeah.
I know I'm right. Because
Yeah.
I've done it a billion times and it works.
All right, well, I got a
does.
plan then. Yeah, I'm not down
Yeah.
yet. I'm not down yet. Like,
And
this
it's a
will-
super simple plan.
Yeah,
Because you have the person own it. Like, it's now their program. It's now their milestone. It's the one that they said out loud. You didn't, like, give them the words. You didn't tell them what you have to do. In fact, like the guitar moment, you don't have to explain anything. You've just got to do you. And then when someone shows interest, you can look them in the Mark 1 eyeballs and say, what do you think of all this? And see where it goes. And then just play the, not Jedi mind tricks, but, you know, just interact with them so that, you know, they understand that in this moment, it is a learning experience. And you don't have to make it like you're the principal at the high school. You can just like be cool and chill and have them solve the problem. But they'll never solve the problem at that age until you start shaping the conversation in a way that they solve their problem. That is leadership, right?
it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about bending the world to your desire
sure.
as well.
For sure.
And it is a learned, experienced thing.
It
like
is.
You can teach leadership, but you also have to experience leadership,
You do.
fail, and
sure.
succeed, and
sure.
all these other things. So,
Yeah.
hooray!
Yeah,
for
and,
me.
and by the way, like going back to, you know, the individual who said, you know, like, are you casually kind of claiming that you're Neo? Yeah, again, I am. Because all
so
of those
casual
minor, all of those minor roles that I was involved in, all of the little lessons that I had to learn, all of the time that I spent in the subway area, you know, when Neo goes down into the subway and, you know, he's got the train dude, the scraggly haired dude who is all wild-eyed, traps him down in limbo in the liminal space.
Conductor, right?
The conductor. That's right. That's right. Like I've been in that spot, man. I've sat on that subway bench and waited and watched, and the subway train never showed up. You know, I've had the conductor flip me the bird and disappear, and me sit on that bench and think, "What the hell, man? I've got no control in this moment. But you know, the moment that you start thinking that, you don't have any control.
True.
You are the victim in the subway watching the train disappear. And that's a super unsettling feeling. And I didn't like it. And so, you know, you've kind of got to go through all those moments to have enough fortitude or enough fire lit up underneath you to frickin' change it. Get out of the subway, grab the conductor by his scraggly neck, fling him around a little bit, and kind of set the record straight, you know?
Yeah. It's funny. I remember all the Matrix movies, and I really enjoyed all of them. And I tried to show the Matrix to my boys at one point. I put it on for them, and Kinley was, I think, 6,
Yeah, too young.
and he was like, it. The moment they put him in the back of the car and started doing the thing in his stomach and trying to take the
Oh yeah,
the
and it's dark lighting.
exactly, yeah, and
It's
he was like,
black and green, and there's like lightning flashes. It's kind of gloomy. It's very atmospheric.
yeah,
It's got a lot of weight
It
to
does.
the moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was too much for Kinley. We had to turn it off
Oh,
and
no doubt.
let him move on. But now that he's a bit older, I think we might go back to it at some point. But it's definitely a
Yeah.
must watch. It's
Oh,
funny.
it's a must.
There's a lot of movies from my day. We actually watched the Devil's Brigade,
Oh, it's
like the old
classic.
60s one.
So classic.
So good.
So good.
And within the first 5 minutes, they were like, "What is this? Why are these? Why are they doing the things with the stuff? And who are those guys with the?" And I was just like, "Man, just watch. This is one of my
So you
pet peeves
raised
as
an
well."
interesting point there on like the Devil's Brigade or the Dirty Dozen or some of these old classics.
Yeah.
Like here's one that just popped into my mind immediately as you were talking about that is The Wild Geese. Have you seen The Wild Geese?
I have.
So classic. But the beauty of movies like that is that they're simpler times with simpler or more easily digestible messages.
Yeah.
Like the quiet interaction with the father and the son before the father bounces off to Africa to go do that thing, and then of course he dies and etc. So sorry, spoiler alert, he dies. You know, like that. Those moments are shot in a way that are simpler, and that simpler shooting, that simpler scene, allows a younger kid to more directly connect with the emotion of the moment. Today's movies, you know, if there was The Wild Geese Part 2 shot in 2025 as the example, there'd be so much. Cars would be doing 980s. Bullets would be like coming back at you. There'd be concrete flying everywhere and ricochets and people like falling from buildings, and like it would look like an apocalypse.
Yeah.
Rather
video
than the
game.
simplicity of the Wild Geese.
Yeah.
But that's what Hollywood has done, is it's made things for the modern brain that loses interest in anything that takes longer than 3 seconds. So Hollywood has to deliver all of the excitement and the whizzy McDoos, but there's no personal connection all of a sudden.
And I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think it's backwards because I don't think they appeal to the modern brain. I think they appeal to the limbic brain.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You know, like
But that is the modern brain now.
but it's the instinctual part of your. They're trying to hit you with really small fight, flight, freeze responses rather than any sort of deep, well-developed emotion. It's flashy. It's fast. It's things that are trying to track. You have to track and move around, and it.
You're right, but when I said modern brain,
But I
I
hear what you're saying. Yeah,
mistitled it.
absolutely.
Our modern brains, like as of the last 20 years as the example, has been rewired, reprogrammed. The modern brain is now different than it was, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And so movies of today wouldn't have worked well 30 years ago because they would have been too shocking.
Yeah.
They would have been too overwhelming to some degree because the brain, as a society, a modern society, we weren't at that time wired or reprogrammed to accept and need action every 3 seconds. Follow, like, it's like hockey. I don't watch hockey, but there was a time, maybe they still do it. There was a time when the crowd was like failing to connect to the game because they couldn't understand the game because the puck wasn't visible. So they had to put like a little glowing thing around the
I
puck so
remember
that
that. Yeah, in the
the
90s and
video game
2000s.
people could like, oh, there's a glowing thing. Now I'm interested in hockey.
Yeah.
And so, it's an interesting phenomenon, no doubt.
Certain broadcasters still do it, I think, but
That's right.
it's not a normal thing, at least. But now, here's my thought on this, which is interestingly enough, because I was thinking about when Frankenstein came out for the first time, like back in
Like
1918.
the original?
Yeah. And people were like fainting and falling out.
right.
And there's been kind of a progression even from then, because you have real life.
Well, the next progression was Marty Feldman with his big eyeballs
Right.
in Frankenstein.
Exactly. And then it became like horror flicks started to become more and more of a thing, and that kind of progressed into the 60s. Then it started getting gory, and then it started
Yeah.
and so each next stage is just like, how much more extreme can we make it? How much more
How
can we
much
do?
more desensitizing can we
Desensitize,
make
yeah.
it?
Exactly. And now some of them are like I look at horror movies now and I'm just like, it's 2 hours of jump scares, and like there's no
My buddy Marlon,
yeah.
when new movies come out, and I can watch them on my system downstairs, he's got the same system as I do. So when the movie comes out on his system, it comes out on my system, and he'll shoot me a DM, and it'll be like, "Hey man, this just dropped. ... And you know what 9 out of 10 movies nowadays are? My response is not interested,
Yeah.
because I just ban horror movies from my brain. I don't watch them at all. Never. And if it's a shock movie, like if it's just a shock fest for people who like need like things moving every 3 seconds, if it's a non-thinking shock fest movie, no thank you. I never watch them. And so also further to that, like even if it's not shocking or it's not horror, but it's just like a lot of artificially manufactured action that is either non-realistic or it's just so relentlessly like stupid, so Hollywood, I just won't watch it because it's not from our world. And if I want to watch that kind of stuff, I'll watch a good science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I'll go back and watch like I'd rather watch The Matrix than watch like another freaking dumb Hollywood action movie,
See, it's funny because I like anime. I like
So do my boys.
the anime, not just anime itself, but like animated movies. And
Right, so do my
I
boys.
really like the fact that when you take an animated movie and you make it otherworldly, you make it not
right.
of our
Yeah, I'm good
reality,
with that.
right? Solid, cool. One of my favorites, Titan AE. It's a really interesting
yeah.
one
Yeah,
from
the boys like that.
late 90s. Great one.
They just put me on to one just came out. I think it was last year or this year. Dragon Z something or other.
Dragon
Anyway,
Ball. You get into Dragon Ball? No.
No.
It's like, holy
It's-
jeez.
No. This one is like a massive Japanese anime. Like everyone's all over it right now. It's a big deal.
Okay.
And the boys dragged me down. We watched it just several nights ago. I watched it for a bit and I thought, not really my jam. But it was okay. I'd rather watch that though than any freaking horror movie.
Me too. I've never been a fan of horror. That was a quick one because of Frankenstein that kicked in my brain. But I think but it goes in, even the over dramatized, over CG'd, like if you look at the Marvel movie series
for
right
sure.
now, like at
I've
the
lost
extent of them,
interest
they're
in Marvel
just
to
like,
some degree.
it's just kind of dull now.
It's dull.
Whereas some of them were groundbreaking. Like I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a great.
Yeah, the first one
The first one, yeah,
was
it was great.
great.
Super fun.
Second one,
Yeah.
but
And then
first one was great.
right, and then it starts to the sequels start to die down because only so many times you can tell the same jokes. There's only so many times you can do the
They
same
pursued
thing.
the success of the first Groundbreaker. So the Groundbreaker was funny, like it had kind of like that offbeat humor, and it was kind of like whoever's stabbing someone in the neck, and then they're going to kind of glance at the camera and, acknowledge the camera
Yeah,
as if
break that fourth wall.
that's right. And then they get back on with the business. And I like that. It was an interesting twist that they took initially, but then they doubled down on the quirkiness in the second one, as Hollywood tends to do. They have a bit of success, and then they'll quadruple down on that little flavor of the month, and it just isn't working in the second or third because they burned down the collateral,
Yeah.
as it were. And so I don't know, man. I wish I owned Hollywood to square it away because, quite frankly, it sucks right now.
Yeah. I used to think, because I used to read the comic books for the Marvel series, like all of the Civil War series and all of that were big comic book sagas that you would follow for long periods of time. And I always said, man, these would make great movies. There's so many, there's so much depth to them. There's so many pieces and different things in play. And then they made the movies, and they were just not the same. Like, it was just smashed together too much in too many places, and the storylines were too large to make into a 2-hour movie. It's similar to with like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. They though they're huge, they had to take out massive chunks of that book just to get it in there. So
For sure.
it never quite ends up being as good as you think it would be.
Well, even let's pretend for a moment that it was possible to capture, I don't know, Tolkien's saga. No matter what that looks like, what Hollywood will do is wedge its way in there with its agenda. And its agenda might be just like, we're going to make all the trolls female, and we're going to make all the orcs sensitive people, and we're going to it's going to be some sort of social or cultural or political or some kind of statement that just deviates from what the spirit of the story was from Tolkien. I've just seen it recently over the last few days. I don't know what's going on with James Bond. I really don't.
Yeah.
But Dame Helen Mirren just came on like recently and said, and I'm going to, synthesize it down to this. What the hell? James Bond is a dude. He's not a chick. It's got to be a dude. Get with the program. That was me synthesizing her. She said it much more nicely, politely, correctly. But James Bond ain't a girl. He's a guy. And so Hollywood will get involved. If they can sell more box office seats, it'll be a female James Bond with a unicorn coming out of her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that, like, it used to be about entertainment. That was the point. Entertainment, right? And people understood that it was about entertainment. And now it's not. It's about
It's correctness.
It's correctness. It's all the stuff, right?
It's shareholders.
Exactly. There's too many pieces, too many people with fingers in the.
It's
in the
not a
pie.
story anymore. It's
It's not a story anymore, and that's the sad part. Is that's what I think. I think this is why digital media is becoming such a big thing as well. Is because it's letting creators create, rather than having the contracts and the lawyers and the people and the stuff and the studio and the producers and we don't need 70 million people, especially for something like this, to be able to sit down and just chat.
And you know what, by the way, not only should it be done way better by Hollywood, it can be done because, look at Tip Cullen and the boys.
Yeah.
With Sunray, their movie that is a little independent. They made it with a small budget. And I watched that movie twice.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's some frickin' hardcore action in there, which normally I wouldn't watch in someone else's movie. Because their movie would be super lame and fake.
Yeah.
But Tip and the boys did it right. Like it's cool. Like it's hardcore.
And
there's some blood and there's some violence. And it's not horror, but it'll challenge you to watch it if you're not used to watching those kind of things. But I'll watch that all day long because I know that it's coming from the right place rather than the fake-a-roni shareholder, let's get a unicorn on someone's head and put a spotlight on them,
Yeah, and it's kind of sad. I watched Warfare as
Oh
well.
yeah, I watched it
And
as
that
well.
one
Yep.
was another really good one put together
was.
by veterans to,
It was.
they experienced, and that's what it was
Yeah.
like. And stuff like that where they're actually not just telling they're not propagating an idea, they're telling a story.
Telling the story.
And
Yeah.
that's the point, right? And I think,
Well,
unfortunately,
it was
it's
their
been-
point.
It was their point.
It's
yeah.
not the point by Hollywood.
Yeah.
It was that point in that movie, which, by the way, you did in your Clippy McClip yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, Hollywood could benefit from small content creators like yourself if they just watched that kind of thing and frickin' picked up what you were putting down. That's how things should be done, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you gave the right nod with the right sort of. It was done right. It was the right vibe. And you nailed the vibe in that one as far as I'm concerned, whereas Hollywood does not.
Yeah. The music nailed it for me. I was when I was actually doing the editing of it, and we're going to have a whole show on editing, and we're going to get some editors in here.
That's a
We're
good
gonna do
idea.
it.
We won't talk about your first edit.
But those were bad. I still got to put a video together.
Don't talk
of
about
those.
yesterday's first
Oh,
edit.
yeah. Oh, that first edit. That one was just it was super quick.
We're not going to talk about it.
And I wanted to
we'll
get
save
it
it
out,
for the
but-
editing show. Maybe.
All right. But when I'm building a clip, there's a process to it that I like. I have to put together the right words, and then I put together the right photos.
Now, hang on a sec.
And-
The right words in, like, if you're building it out from scratch, your first move is what? Your verbiage.
Yes. So
Okay,
I listen
so-
to the speakers. Like I have a general idea of what the point was made, and then I take the speakers themselves, and I work out exactly what's being said, and then I trim kind of the fat of the uhs and the pauses and the pieces there that aren't or pieces of context that are brought up that are from previous or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I strip it down to the point. And then once I have the point down, then I add all my imagery, and I do all my B-roll and all the other stuff that added the other nods and the little things like that.
Yeah.
And then I take it and I do my captions, and then I add music. And music is the last stage for me, and it's like I have to find the right feel to match the verbiage.
Yeah.
And
Now-
then once I have that, it like sinks
Do a
in, and I
little bit
feel
of editing myself.
yeah.
And I understand a little bit about this stuff, but I'm now interested in asking you some probing questions.
Hit it.
So, first of all, you said that you create your verbiage first. Now, is that correct? Because it sounds to me like what you do is you of course you're here on the podcast, you attend that first one, but then when you're creating your clip, you've got to kind of look through the podcast for those little moments that you've timelined down as you're listening to things. When you listen to that little chunk of time, are you listening to it to get the wisdom for it or from it, or are you listening to that little timeline to create your verbiage from it? Because you'd said that you create your verbiage first.
Yeah. So
And do you type your verbiage down, or how do you work it?
So I don't type my verbiage down. It's what I really do. As a better description of it is I shape the wisdom left there for me.
Or you identify the wisdom, maybe.
Identify. I do shape it a little bit, and
Yeah, of course. No, but you got to
I
identify it first
identify it.
before you can shape it.
Yeah, I like.
Okay,
and
so you identify the wisdom.
that's the timestamp. We'll be listening to
yes.
it on the show, and I'll be like, "That was gold,
Understood?
done." And then it's trimming it down.
Yeah.
So the wisdom is already there. I don't actually shape, or I can't say I don't shape. I don't create the verbiage. I just shape what's being said.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes when I do like the
Good.
back
I'm
and
glad-
forth,
I just need to,
Yeah.
it might sound a bit pedantic.
no, but
if
it's
we're-
correct.
Yeah.
And when I do the back and forth is when I start to merge the conversation, because a lot of times it'll be somebody will say something and then you'll respond to it, and then somebody else will respond to you, and then so it is a conversation, but when I start to blend them, it becomes a back and forth.
Yeah, right.
Because you respond to certain points, and I can just
That's right.
fill that in. And then once I have that wisdom kind of locked in and it's under a certain time frame, then I start to add B-roll. And the B-roll is all about understanding the point under the point. Like,
Yeah, it's the supporting structure for the point.
exactly. And then I want the imagery I want people to come
Attach.
to
Yeah.
with it. And then the music afterwards is the big one. And
It
once
is.
the music kicks in,
Music is so key.
it's nice. Like yesterday's,
So
I was
hang on a
looking for
sec.
like,
Question on music, branching point. You choose some music, but are you trying to choose music that is verbally connected to it, or is it musically connected to it, or is it vibe connected to it? Because there's many ways you can play with that music.
what came up in my head was emotionally connected to it.
Yeah, right.
That's what I seek. I
Yeah.
want whatever the emotion of the wisdom that brings forth in me is. I try to accentuate that
Yeah, that makes sense. I try
and
to do
then
the same.
pass it on. I think it's very much a vibe thing, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're making something like that.
It
And
is a vibe.
there's times where there's times where I know the music before I do anything else. Like I know the point that was being made, and I'm like, oh, I know what kind of music's going to go with this already ahead of time, and then it's just fitting it in. Sometimes I got to search through 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 300 different styles of music
Yeah,
you're going.
I understand. Yeah.
So
I was doing that myself, back in the day, but nowadays I try to jank it up a little bit, like
Yeah.
random music.
I think I do that with my stuff, where I'll pick kind of what's being offered by Instagram. It'll give me like a
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah.
you list, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
ooh, that sounds cool, done.
Yeah.
And it's just pull the trigger on that kind of stuff. But anything for the clips, it's very in-depth thought of, I want it right. I want it to feel right across the board. I don't want to.
It's got to be
Have any-
feel, vibe.
Yeah, I don't want any jankiness in any of the clips I put out for the show. That's where I'm hard line. Not going to
Yeah,
happen.
agreed.
But
Yeah.
it's a really interesting nuance to the conversation, in that this is how you bend reality.
It
You
is.
shape it to your will a little bit.
You
And
do.
It's in these little things where you're like, dig deep into the nuance of
It's the intentional
do
things that shape
the intentional things. Yeah.
You got to shape with intentionality. I mean, you can impact the world for sure. Everyone can impact the world for sure, unknowingly. I mean, if you saunter down the sidewalk like a jerk, completely unaware of society all around you, and you keep bumping into everyone with your shoulders, I mean, you can be that guy or girl
Oh,
who
absolutely.
just has zero awareness of how this entire pattern works. But the more you understand the pattern, the more you understand the world, we'll call it, the more intentional you are in flowing through it. Maybe the girl in the red dress is walking towards you, all these little moments where if you pay attention, you'll see what you see and you can move through the world intentionally. It's that intentionality, constant evolution of the intentionality. Intentional is just one word with about 1 billion layers underneath it.
Yeah.
And what's your layer? I mean, are you just in the game of checking the box of I'm present right now? Or are you going to work 27 layers deep and not just think I'm present right now? Instead, you think I'm shaping it right now. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because that's how I work. That's how
That-
I think. I
that
never used
scene-
to, but I do now.
That scene is hilarious because my wife feels like Neo all the time in that scene, because when I walk down the street, people get out of my way. And not out of like, I'm not being spiteful and like trying to take up
that's right.
space.
Yeah.
But as I walk down the street, people just shift
Yeah,
out of my,
sure.
when I
Yeah,
go through a
makes
store,
sense.
when I do all the, like, I'm a bigger dude, right? So it makes sense.
You're
But,
like 12 foot tall.
and so my
You're
wife,
like a circus freak walking
used
into
to-
Loblaws.
she used to try to walk beside me, and she would get
Oh,
so
yeah.
like annoyed because she would always
Oh,
be
yeah, right.
dipping and diving around
Yeah,
people. And
right.
so she got used to just kind of like floating into my wake.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she's probably drafting behind you all
exactly.
aerodynamic style.
Yeah. And so that scene particularly, it's kind of hilarious because it happens to me all the time. And I didn't think about it for many, many years. To your point, I didn't actually realize that it was happening
Yeah.
until I started
Until
processing
you
it,
were
like
briefed.
really looking at it and going, people do get out of my way. And back then, it was because I was walking around all,
Yeah, because
Stern and
you
angry.
were a different dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty funny though.
It is
say.
funny, but
Yeah.
it's funny to it's funny to be able to look back on moments like where you were a jerk and you were walking around like the tough guy and like putting everyone off because of your vibe. I look back at that dude now, and what do you think? Like, what was that character?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But you do. But what was it? What was who was that character? You know,
That was a
how would you
scared little
label
boy.
it?
That's what it was. That was a scared
Yeah.
little boy.
Right. I think we've all been that at one
Yeah.
time in our life.
100%. And it was just trying to project strength that I didn't have, that I knew I
Right.
didn't have.
Right.
And I thought, I'll just make sure everyone thinks I have it. And then,
Yeah. Yeah. With my fake armor.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny to look back on and realize how silly it is. But
It all makes sense at the time, though.
it makes sense in the
It makes
moment,
sense.
right?
You think you're a tough dude. You think that everyone's got a problem. You know, that the whole thing. It's just, it's so embarrassing to look back and think how juvenile it all was. But, you know, I think it's a thing for maybe not every man. Maybe not. I don't know. But most men that I've met at some point in their life was a clown. We all were. And we just didn't do it right.
Yeah. I think we have to do it wrong in a number of ways before we actually
Yeah.
realize who we are. Because this is another. I went and had a chat with somebody. I met this lady through my friend Gary, and she wants to get a equine program set up for
nice.
for vets and lots of people. And I've actually been propositioned, if that's a good word for it, about like working horses.
That's probably not the right word, but
It's not the word. That's what I got in my head. About being a facilitator at these types of things, so that I can help out with people with disabilities and vets and first responders, like all these things, doing equine therapy. And I'm like, yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
So this lady and I had this great
now,
conversation.
but not yet 2 years ago,
For sure.
right?
Yeah. And this is earlier this year, you asked me what my challenge was. And I was like, now I'm adding in equine therapy. This is going to be my new challenge to actually do this as a professional rather than
Nice.
as a hobby. So
Dude, you're gonna make so much money.
I'm going to lose so much more money
lose
just
so
in
much
gas,
money.
man. Like, it's ridiculous. And anyway, the point is that this conversation I had, we talked about a lot of these things. We got into a very metaphysical conversation. She's a, I hate to use this term, but like, she's like a yogi girl.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so we got very much into like meditation, and this is where the conversation of universal
Nice. How
truth
deep does
came
the rabbit
up,
hole
and
go?
you know how far exactly, and we kind of went all over the place. So
Nice.
this conversation has followed that conversation very parallel. It's
That's
kind of
good,
fun,
though.
kind of
Do
interesting.
you know what? What doesn't happen often enough is these kind of conversations.
I agree.
Everyone's scared to have conversations like this,
Yeah.
like as if they're gonna be, exposed.
Well, they will be.
I'm
That's the
going
thing.
to I'm going to expose my thoughts to the internet. Now, you know that I never used to, ever, but now I do. Do you know why? Because I'm trying to encourage other people to get their freak on. And what does that mean? To get your freak on? It means to like simply accept your freaky little thoughts and work through them and start freaking owning them. You know?
Yeah.
And
do,
so
and
everyone has these
awesome.
kind of thoughts, man. Everyone like, so, we can walk down the sidewalk and see the lady in the red dress walking towards us. But we can't walk down the sidewalk and see electrons. So as humans, the way that we're built, how we see our reality, we're limited by our own belief of what reality is and what we're supposed to see in it.
Yeah.
But I don't accept that. I push back against that. As I've said in my post this morning, directly, specifically, that the walls that surround me, the construct that is, I am always flexing that wall because I want to know if I can see electrons. Now, of course I can't right now, but if I try hard enough, maybe one day I will, maybe in another life. But the point remains that without these kind of conversations, without these kind of thoughts, in my brain, your brain, everyone's brain, like when does the electron get seen?
I just had this conversation with my wife, and I was saying to her how amazing the human body is. Like, if you stop and think about all the processes that are just happening right
Currently.
now, all at the same time, and the fact that we are conglomerations of organs, which are conglomerations of cells, which are conglomerations of atomic structures, which technically are just mixing with other atomic structures
Simply
at all
electrons.
times,
Yeah.
everywhere, right? And yeah, or the fact that as much as I can go and touch this microphone with my finger, I'm not actually touching the microphone.
That's correct.
And so it's just an amazing thing that when you stop and intentionally take the time to think about these things, discuss them in the open, to your point, or to maybe push against your point, you will be exposed. Your thoughts will be exposed. That is the point, is to expose those thoughts, to be able to engage them and show them to the light and say, hey, does this ring true to you as well? Does this ring true? That's how we have the theory of gravity. That's how we have the theory of all these things, right?
That's right.
Through experiential testing. And
But
then
I do
agreement.
want to say this, because this has been on my head a little bit over the last, I don't know, couple, 3 months kind of thing. It's one thing to understand and believe that when you're on your mountain bike ripping down a single track, that you are simply an energetic being, balanced, we'll call it, on top of electrons in the form of a bike that is ripping down just more electrons. And so here we are in this reality that our brains have to create in order to understand, like, not to go crazy, I suppose, to like be able to keep it together so that we have this veil of reality in front of our existence, that we can reach out and touch this thing and believe that it's a microphone. Well, that's kind of like us plugged into the machine. But then when you escape the machine and you start thinking like Neo, well, now, like, how all of this works energetically, I feel I will, you know? And if I don't do that, if I don't do that, then like, who is? So I feel like I have to. Maybe there's a billion other dudes out there that are all, but I don't see them, and I don't see them talking about it. So like, I might as well get my freak on. I'll be gone in 20 years. So here we are, pushing the pace in the freak zone.
You think you only got 20 years?
I think statistically, I mean, I'll be 62 in October. I'm probably going to make it to about 86-ish or something like that. That's the standard in Canada right now. Of course, we have the advent of AI and the nanorobots and all of that stuff just around the corner, maybe in about a decade or so. I might get a little bump. I might make it into my hundreds. But, you know, generally speaking, I've got maybe 24, 26 years ahead of me. And of course, the back end, the last few years, I'll be like probably a village idiot. So, you know, I got two decades, man.
You're going to be the oldest ninja just jumping out alleyways. And, yeah, that'll be pretty fun. I'm just hoping that the nanomachines, I laugh about this, but it probably will happen. Once we have nanomachines, it'll probably be tasked to do things like hair regrowth rather than actually keeping people healthy, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Silly stuff like that. But
that's where the money is.
That's where the money is. Maybe it'll work on the bald spot on top of my head, and then I won't have to work so much.
I'm a little bit bald myself. I'm starting to see it in the slow-mo videos.
I'm at the point where I think I'm going to have to start just buzzing it all off and calling it a day.
Hey, funny thing that just brought a little idea into my head. I don't know if you've seen it. I should probably send you the clip. I almost pushed it up to the interwebs. There's a barber down in the US, and he's got this wheel, and he spins it. And whatever it lands on, the kid who spun the wheel has to get that haircut. And so, like, there's a bunch of different haircuts, and they are bonkers, man.
Yeah.
And one of the haircuts is called the old man cut. And these kids travel from all over the place, and they have to pay, like, they got to pay to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
And then, like, it doesn't matter what the kid says. He's right up in their grill saying, you don't want to do this. You've got to tell me a bunch of times that you desperately want this. And then the parent has to be there. Like the mom or the dad has to say, yeah, I heard you say that he shouldn't do it. And I heard him say that he wants to do it. And I'm saying it's okay. And then he'll still double down and say, are you sure? And then they say, yeah. And then the wheel spins, and then it's the old man cut. And this dude doesn't give a rat's. What he does is he just got his clippers and he just... And what he does is he just cuts the bowl on top and leaves all the shaggy hair on the side. Dude, it is such a bad look. And there's been kids that have walked out, like two brothers traveled there from Tennessee to get the And they were like, they spun each other's. I've watched it a couple of times because it's so freaking funny, man. It's so like authentically legit.
Nice.
And like these kids, they'll walk out the door and they're all stokey McStoked. Like they're just loving the fact that, they're going to be starting high school with their new haircut from that dude. But then, interestingly,
Good for them. Good for them. That's
some
awesome.
some kids will go in there and like they'll get a cut, and like they're walking out the door and you can like they're starting to cry
Yeah.
because they thought they had a different idea in their mind of what the experience was going to be, and they thought the haircut was not part of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then that middle ground is the kids that show up, and I swear this is being said almost word for word. A kid will show up and he'll say, "Well, why do you want to get a haircut?" Because I want to be famous on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, you get the whole spectrum of humanity in this dude's barber shop where he gives these bonkers bad haircuts. It's so good.
You'll have to send me a clip
I will
because
have
that
to.
sounds awesome. But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, what does that say? What does that say about our societal
Oh, I know.
zeitgeist? I guess, right? That's
Oh, I
not.
know.
It's not great, but
Oh, I
at the
know.
same time, it's an interesting way to look at where would where would be the most efficient place to see a cross section of a neighborhood or a cross section of
barbershop.
a society, right?
Did I not
Barbershop's
say
a
my
great one.
Uncle Kent set our three rules? Race, religion, and politics as an English barber when I was getting my hair cut as a little kid in his barber chair.
Yeah.
Race, religion, politics. None of them at the dinner table for my Uncle Kent.
And I agree with it in theory,
Yeah.
but I actually think that those things sometimes need to be talked about for sure.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they
for
become
sure.
dogmatic. But
Maybe at the dinner table when
Sometimes.
you're in control and things
when
don't
you're-
get out
yeah,
of hand, but not
exactly
on the podcast.
with the right people. But yeah, on the podcast,
right.
it could go very bad very quickly.
Yeah,
Speaking of
barbershop,
which-
man. You can learn a lot in a barbershop.
Yeah, and you can learn a lot of things in a lot of places if
Mm-hmm.
you intentionally go there to learn things.
Do you know what's the best? Is when you set up your life so that people come to talk to you.
Clever, clever. It seems like somebody I know has done that, interestingly enough. On that note, I think we can shut her down. We're a little bit over an hour now.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
Any final thoughts? Anything still bubbling in the back of your brain today? We've kind of hit everywhere, although we talked about the Matrix probably most of anything.
Yeah, probably. Because it's relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Anything still
Yeah,
bubbling?
my question back to you is that who do you think you are?
Oh, I was thinking about this earlier. Morpheus.
I think so. It's not a bad go.
That's where I'm the guy that brings the other people there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I had an image go through my head. This is a side note, but I had a dream last night that I was Karen, the boat driver that went across the River Styx,
Oh, interesting.
and it was just the interesting dream I had.
Ah, I see. With a C.
CH, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Charon
Charon
or what. I can't know how to pronounce
I
it,
was
but
like,
yeah,
Karen, I was like, what were you complaining about now?
I was complaining about a lot, but it was
Yeah, I
it was an
suppose.
interesting dream because I remember going back and forth and like seeing the different people get on the boat, get off the boat, get on the boat. Some that left on the shore, some that like, and you saw a very big spectrum of humanity, which was an interesting dream. I didn't get a lot of sleep, so that's probably why.
I've had
It
that
was
same
it
dream.
was weird, but
Only once, though.
just last night, so like it's fresh in my mind. But
Did you pay the fireman's toll?
I was the ferryman. So people were paying me the toll.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, that
I
like I was
see.
from that point of view.
Check. How
So
much
it was
cash did
interesting.
you make?
I
Enough to
actually
pay for
interesting.
equine therapy?
And maybe, but I remember being given something, but I don't remember what it was. Like it was almost an ephemeral thing. So
Well, it should have been a coin. I mean,
it should have been.
That
But
is
I don't.
typically what it
Not many
is.
people get buried with coins anymore. So
but I mean, if we're sticking with the mythological theme of Sharon or Charon, there is a ferryman's toll, and it has
There
to be
is, yeah,
paid, and it
absolutely.
typically was, at least mythologically, a coin. So,
yeah. Interestingly enough, if I remember correctly, Neo had to pay Morpheus something. He had to give him something initially. It was trust. That's what it was. He had to pay with trust. He had to step into the void with Morpheus. Yeah, another
another void. Whatever.
Here we go. Anyway, as we all continue to learn, build, and grow, we'll see y'all next week.
Chimo.
Thanks everybody for watching and being part of the collective. If this has sparked any thoughts or resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. We'll see y'all next time.